good morning, Knicks universe. Welcome to another edition of the Knicks Morning Brew. I am your guy Hector, and like always, I'm chilling with my guy Fabulous Phil. Philip, tell the people something good before we drop that intro.
Yo, we got a lot to talk about. We on a 7-0 run. We got Breeze season in the building. We ready to party today. We ready to kick some butt tonight. We got a good show coming up. So watch this intro and get ready to kick it.
Let's go. Yes. Good morning, Knicks universe. KOD Nation, stand up, and all you Degens, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome back. It's another episode of the Knicks Morning Brew. This Friday, March 3rd, a beautiful edition. And like always, I'm your guy Hector, chilling with the one and only Philly Ray Cyrus. Philly Ray, how are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, bro. Actually, no, I left my coffee upstairs, so I'm not feeling great. I'm feeling good. When I get it, I'll feel great. But it's going to be a good day, man. We got a lot to talk about. We've been
Mm-hmm.
cracking up behind the scenes, me, you, and Jigga, just talking about all the people that are now, all of a sudden recognizing that the New York Knicks are worth paying attention to. So
Yes.
it's a fun season to be a Knicks fan, bro. And so I'm excited because, you know, today's episode, we have someone to me who, if we were supposed to like pick one person on like Nick fandom that we think would be like great for like a cartoon and has the personality to like match it, it would be our guest today. Like this dude has
Facts.
one of the most like exciting and hilarious personalities that I've seen in
Mm-hmm.
Nick fandom since I've been a Nick. So I'm excited to have Breeze on today's episode and kind of just
Mm-hmm.
chop it up. And then we got open panel tonight. So I'm always excited for, open panel and seeing what people have to say because that's why we do it. We want to hear what everyone's got to say. So today is always one of my favorite days of the week.
Yes, definitely. And also, shout out to our guys, Eddie and Smitty, who had their debut episode of the Eddie and Smitty show last night over here on the Morning Brew Sports. If you guys aren't following the new channel, please subscribe to the new channel, Morning Brew Sports. But like you said, when it comes to Breeze, Phil, you know I'm somebody that is not too keen on the Twitter spaces. It scares me a little bit. It's a little some characters over there. But Breeze and the guys at KCDA, those are one of the only channels that I do actually enjoy listening to because it's not
Yep.
just rah screaming back and forth at each other. It's actually great insight. It's actually great breakdowns. And without further ado, let's just bring up Breezy right now. Breeze, good morning.
Yeah. Turn it up. Turn it up in here. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Seven
Yes,
of them
sir.
things. We on 7 of them things right now.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get it. Let's get it.
I love
Appreciate
it.
y'all
I
having
love
me.
it. For
Nah,
sure, bro. I'm
definitely, man.
excited to
Appreciate you
have you.
taking
So,
time.
so before we jump into it and kind of hear your takes, Jigga was talking about how we should share something that you've been doing. So I do my
Okay.
good, bad, and ugly. After every game, you got Danny B
Mm-hmm.
who does his morning drives. Lately, you've been lacing up with your new series that you've been doing in the car. And to me,
Yeah.
those things get me pumped. So we got to show anyone who's watching who has not seen one of these this clip right here. So Jigga, I'll let you pop it up. All right, let me hit play. Boom. Oh, whoop.
You gotta hit the audio button. Gotta hit the audio button. Nah, you just gotta go where you see where it says present, right? And you when you gotta go to share screen, you gotta click the audio button to give it access.
All right, let's try that again. Because
We
I
still
don't
turn.
ever
We
do.
still turn.
I don't even do that. I don't ever do that. See, it didn't give me an option for the audio. Let's try it again. See if it happens.
Let's
If
try it
not,
again.
we'll try it again. Let's see. Can you hear that?
Oh man, can't hear it. You got to hit the audio share button when you hit shared screen. But shout out to the chat as they come in. Shout out to our guys at the VSN basketball
sir.
station. Salute, my guy Trippy OG, the OGs of the OGs. Shout out to my guy Blood of the Panther, the top moderator of all the moderators. But
Yes,
like Breeze
sir.
said, 7 in a row. Lucky
Seven
number
of them.
7, Breeze. When this team was 10 and 13 in the month of December, and everybody was calling for tank for Victor, you know, fade for Victor, and tank, sell this team, trade this team. Did you expect us on March 3rd to be in the position we are at right now with the record we have at this moment, bro?
No. So let me take you back a little bit. At the end of last season, so first of all, this off season on Twitter, last season was my rookie season on Knicks Twitter, so to speak. So I got ingratiated. I got introduced off KCDA, which I now am a part of. So before I just used to suffer by myself. So we get to last season, we get through the hell of last season. And I had very few minimal things I just wanted to see. I wanted Tom Tibbs toys to be put away. They did that. I wanted them to get a point guard. They did that. Everything after that was house money. Everything after that was house money because, being a Knicks fan, you could ride that roller coaster all season. So I'm like, I found a way to, kind of be in the middle. I don't get too high, I don't get too low until now, because now we cooking and now I'm back in my prime. But up until then, I've been very even keel, So once they did all of those things, I went into this season. I'm like, okay, you basically just brought Jalen Brunson back, and you looking at how you can assess the team game to game, week by week, who's progressing, who's not. They made the moves that we wanted. As far as letting Quentin Grimes get some more time, seeing what Emmanuel quickly could do. We're going to forever be in whatever chapter for Obi Toppin. But most of the things that have happened has been stuff we wanted. So I had them at 41 and 41. It doesn't seem like there's any way that they're not going to hit that ball.
That's going to
happen. Yeah.
So I did not see this coming. I would be honest.
Yeah. And when you bring up that record, the prediction for the record that you put 41 and 41, at the moment right now, we are 37 and 27. We have 18 games left in the season to play. If the Knicks were to just turn it into cruise mode and just play 500 basketball for the rest of the way, 9 wins, 9 losses, we will be at 46 and 36. I think every Knicks fan going into the season, if we told you that could be a possible record for this team, everybody would take it, because I know I would. My whole mindset coming into the season, and before Phil and I and Jigga started this show, was it's time to take the kid gloves off, especially when it comes to guys like RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, and Emmanuel Quickly. And out of those threes, Emmanuel Quickly has stepped it up so much. You can see the Jalen Brunson effect and full play, not only with the starting unit, but with Emmanuel Quickly as well. We all knew that Emmanuel Quickly was a wild firecracker on the court, but now that he has direction from Jalen Brunson, now he's showing that he could be that second-tier leader behind Jalen Brunson. You see him when he's out there, he's calling defensive schemes out for his teammates. He's letting people know, hey, your guy's cutting over here, or the pick is coming, or the high pick is coming. You see him being super vocal on the court. And Emmanuel Quickly, if he doesn't get the 6th man of the year, Knicks fans need to riot. Call up Adam Silver and riot. Philly Ray, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. It's funny because even us, as fans, we've been on a roller coaster even in the beginning of the season. In the beginning of the season, it was, oh man, are we doing this again? Like, do we not know what to expect from our team? Like, are they jerking us around? We're seeing signs of hope, but then we're seeing signs of like just falling apart, and then all of a sudden it was just like, after we got our teeth kicked in by that foolish last few minutes of the fourth quarter play against the Mavericks, it was like we became a whole new team. Like, everything changed dramatically. everything from our rotation to how Emmanuel quickly went from being, just a defensive player this year to gaining his offensive skills that we saw last year. And we were like, holy crap, now this kid is a whole player. Like, he could start on mostly any other like NBA team. Like, he is that good. And we've just seen progression and progression and progression from that kid. So everyone's like, oh, Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon's a good player, but Malcolm Brogdon is a good player on a team that was already good. Like, that was the thing. They were already contenders last year. They already had their two superstars. Emmanuel quickly stepped it up, and part of the reason our team is now good is because of Emmanuel quickly. He's done more to impact our team than any other sixth man has done for their organization. So for me, it's got to be Emmanuel quickly. And for me, just watching the progression of all of our guys is ridiculous. Like, in any situation, when you see somebody, especially let's say you're at a workplace and someone new comes in and they do kind of the same thing you do, you're constantly worried about your job. You're constantly worrying about, like, are they coming for my neck? And that easily could have been how we saw things when it came to Josh Hart. But everybody embraced him and said, this guy is this good. We need to be this good. And you've seen everybody raise their gameplay, especially on the defensive end, to the point now that media can't stop talking about how dangerous the New York Knicks look right now. And it feels really good. And so with that, now we have it queued up, because what makes me excited is that right there. But watching media like this boosts me up more than watching ESPN. So Jigga, drop that clip real quick.
I'm not a fan of the energy right now, man. Not a fan of the energy on here, man. Brooklyn Nets fans, copping please. Atlanta Hawks fans, copping please when we pull up to the space now that the block is hot. Motherfuckers getting mad when you say their name for old takes. This is Twitter, man. The place for hell. Stop begging for mercy out this mug. Shit is real around here. Sticks and stones may make clothes in the shell, but I take it like a man and you make that shit like a fucking man. Tell him, Floyd, with your baby beef. You took a running like baby sheep. Some racist motherfucker. I'm not.
He brought out the Beg for Mercy G-Unit track to pretty much say that everybody's got excuses why they're getting their teeth kicked in right now.
Yeah.
Little young baby teeth. I love it.
Man, I don't like it. Anything I ever said, man, I stand on. If I was wrong, I was wrong. But I don't like the energy. If you're wrong, you don't embrace being wrong. I like learning new information. I enjoy learning new information. The fact that I've been wrong, because I've been wrong about several things. I've given Emmanuel quickly hell this very season. I'm giving him hell because he showed me his rookie season. It was like, oh, you could be this. And I felt like we haven't gotten that Emmanuel quickly from his rookie season for a long stretch of time. And that's a position that's needed. Guard is a position that's needed. So when he shows me that, and then, he's trying to figure his stuff out, as a New Yorker, we jump out windows, man. That's what we do. So, I gave him hell. He was developing. He was progressing. Now it's just like everything is turned. The defense is turned. The playmaking is turned. The scoring is turned. And it's like, I didn't think that he would get to this so quickly. So I'm wrong. And I'm happy to be wrong about that, because anytime I'm wrong about negative parts of the Knicks and it turns out to be a positive, why would I be mad that the team is proving me wrong? I want them to.
Yeah. No, it's 100% right. And like you said, when it comes to Emmanuel quickly, last year, it seemed like he was stuck in between, of what he wanted to be in his rookie season and what the team is asking him to be. So last year, it felt like he was caught in between, didn't know if he should shoot it, didn't know if he should pass it. Sometimes he was overshooting, sometimes he was overpassing. But this year, he finally found his groove and he's embracing it. But I want to ask you, Breeze, before we get on to the next topic, when it comes to the addition of Jalen Brunson as a free agent, when it comes to the acquisition of Josh Hart at the trade deadline, Do you
Yeah.
remember the Knicks making moves like that? When was the last time can you point to the Knicks making either free agency signing that was that impactful on this team, and also at the same time a mid-season trade acquisition that was this impactful for the team? Because I can't remember. If you want to say Amari Stoudemire, maybe D Rose from a couple of years, maybe that could be up there for the conversation. But what about you, Breeze?
So you would have to go back. It wasn't necessarily a mid-season trade, but it would have to be that season. I believe. I hope I'm not wrong. I think we got Steve Novak and J.R. Smith at the same time in the same season in signing. I may be wrong about that, but I believe it was the same season. The starters, we was figuring stuff out. The bench, we had to get that together. So when we got those acquisitions, you just seen a boost immediately. I believe J.R. that J.R. Smith's first game was against the Dallas Mavericks, and you could just see the scoring punch that we needed. It was essential for what that team needed. J.R. Smith in many ways was Melo's number 2. I need people to understand that. In many ways, J.R. was Melo's number 2. So as far as impactful wise, I would have to go back to the J.R. Smith. But the thing that's underrated with both pickups is forward thinking moves, because that trade and that pickup is not for just this season. Jalen Brunson very well may be the best free agent pickup for 2 off seasons. So they may have just won the last one and this one, because it's possible he's the best player in 2. And then Josh Hart, I believe he's only making 14 or some odd million.
Like 12 and a half something. Yeah,
12 and a half million. You able to bring him back something along the lines, because he just wants a long-term situation. You bring him back on along the lines of a 3-year 30 or anywhere into those odds, and you basically could possibly replace the money of Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose with the contracts of Quickly and Josh Hart. So it's like in a lot of aspects, you are forward thinking. It's just not the big splashy move, but team building wise, if we just looking at how the team is being built, they doing some things.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Phil.
And I think you're right. The thing that I think all of us at first didn't see, because even like I've always been a fan of Brunson. I was pro him coming, but when they announced the Josh Hart, I was just like, yeah, but why the pick? I didn't get the pick. I understood getting him, but now obviously he's shown that he's well worth that pick.
Pick who? What pick? What pick you talking about? I don't care.
And someone's firstborn, I don't really care. Like, if Tibbs ever gets a child, give him Tibbs' child. Like, so I'm to the point where we didn't really see maybe what the front office saw, because a lot of us in the past few years have kind of gotten to this point where we think that the only way to really win is with bona fide superstars. But now we're starting to see that some teams are going, hey, this bona fide superstar thing isn't really working out, especially because now these bona fide superstars have, a bad meal in the city, and all of a sudden they want out because they had heartburn. It's like, oh, I got heartburn at this Atlanta restaurant. I want out of Atlanta. Like, it makes no sense. They can demand trades for anything. So if you revolve your team around this 1 or 2 people on your roster and they decide to go elsewhere, you're restarting all over. And so New York has kind of done it different. And they've been like, we are going to get great players throughout our whole roster instead of just 2 superstars and then mediocrity around them. Look at the Lakers. Look at the Clippers. Those guys have bad games or stupid load management, and all of a sudden their team is mediocre for this many games. At best, they're mediocre, And so I've kind of liked what we've done. I have to give shout out to the front office, as hard as it is for me sometimes to like say those words, like what they've done, making our like starting lineup and our bench hard to contend with through and through. It's impressive, and I know Hart's coming back. Every conversation he has, he's pretty much said, I've already got the U-Haul. Like I'm moving, like we're here, I'm not going anywhere. So it would
I
have to
was
be
I
the
was hanging
biggest
out with
mistake
him last week in Dykeman, helping him look out for apartments in Dykeman because he said he wants to be up in Manhattan. So I got you, Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Not yeah. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so let's do a roll call real quick. We got Knicks
Yes.
Talk, Raw and Uncut, E. Gibson in the building, Jonathan's in the building, Sunil, always in the building. Love you, Sunil. The moderator of moderators, Blood of the Panther. We got
Yes, sir.
Jiggaman in the back there. We got Ray. Ray's chilling. We got our boys at the Toxic Boys. Not sure exactly which one it is, or maybe it's all three of them hanging out. Whatever. We got them all here. Who else? I miss anybody else? Who we got? Who we got?
Nah, that's about it. That's about it. Like JJ's
right.
in the chat. My guy JJ, like you said, Sunil was in the chat. And just shout out to everybody. If you're watching over on the Knights of Degen channel, please sub to the new channel, the Morning Brew Sports, because we will be moving all of our content going forward from KOD Media over to the Morning Brew Sports. That way we can have more shows, just like last night. We debuted the Smitty and Eddie show last night, which was really awesome. Shout out to our guys Eddie and Smitty. But yeah, Breeze. Before we take a deep dive more into like the rest of this season, I want to ask you, Knick fan to Knick fan, when did your fandom start for this team? You know, I always point back to when the Knicks got Stephon Marbury and we had Marbury and Mutombo in the playoffs for that one season. But for you, when was that first fandom, or when did you realize this is a team that I'm going to curse myself with to follow for the rest of my life?
So I never had a choice. I never had a choice, man. I was in the crib at a young early age, like 5. I remember watching Starks, Ewan, all of them boys. And it was just like, yo, my pops, that's all he had on the TV. And he had to have the whole ambiance set where he was watching the games, man. You know, he always did the beer, Heineken or some joint. And then he was always watching the game. Now, when he watches the games, bro, it's an experience. So, like, my brother, he watched the games. I was the only one that really gravitated towards the Knicks, though. My brother was a fan of like Vince Carter, so he was a Raptors fan, and he a Brooklyn fan now. I don't know how long he's gonna be a Brooklyn fan. He was a Brooklyn fan before. I don't know how long that's gonna last. But he was a Brooklyn fan before. So yeah, man, I would just sit there, I'll watch it. He'd be so into the game, loud clapping. Like I took that from him, and now it's just like I never really had a choice, man. I never really had a choice. So Pops just gave me the inheritance of the Knicks, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you with that. Yeah, growing up, I can remember in the 90s and stuff like that. And I'm from Brooklyn, right? I grew up right off of Atlantic Avenue, Lefferts Place between Clausen and Grand. I went to school literally right around the corner from the Barclays, the old Sarah J. Hell Brooklyn High School of Arts, and you would never catch me rooting for the Brooklyn Nets. I don't care what it I couldn't
tried,
even
I couldn't
try.
do it.
I couldn't.
Tried, bro.
Well, I'm not gonna. Okay, yeah. So it's like, let's say 05, 06, when I was in high school, when it was announced that the Nets were planning to move to Brooklyn, I was like, all right, let me take this. Let me just try it out. I turned on to Yes to watch the broadcast. I just couldn't get into it. It wasn't the same like watching the Knicks game. It's one thing, you know, James Dolan may be a buffoon and a bozo, but the one thing he gets right, when you watch a Knicks game, it's like you're on Broadway. Right, the way they light up the Garden, the way they light up that court, it's literally like you're watching a Broadway show. No other arena has that experience like Madison Square Garden does. Every other arena is the fans are super bright. You can see actually if somebody has something on their face at Madison Square Garden, you actually fall into the ambiance of the game and actually feel like you're literally there while you're watching it. But Phil, I'll let you throw up to the next topic right now. Let's talk about the Nets versus the Knicks. Start it off, Phil, and throw it over to Breezy.
Yeah, you know, so like you guys, you know, when Brooklyn came, I was like, man, this could be a good thing for New York. You know, man, I was wrong. You know, like at first I saw the black and white jerseys, and I too was like, man, yo, those things are hard. You know, and then what did they do? The same thing that they do all the time. They came out with statement jerseys that look like you downloaded graffiti font from defont.com that anybody could get, look like Crayola jerseys, and they do what they always do. They ruin things. And so for me, that game was hilarious because right before the game. You know, there was a Nets Twitter space that I joined for the heck of it because I saw a lot of people heading in there. So you had guys like Cousins, you had Smitty, you had Tony, and a whole bunch of just Nick Twitter fans that went in there to argue with the Nets fans. And you could just see that the heart and how they argue on Nick's Twitter is like how their basketball team plays. Like, it's just soft. Like, it was soft. Like, I felt bad for these guys. And so that's kind of how I felt watching the game. You know, like I said in my good, bad, the ugly, the hardest part for me was as I was celebrating, looking and being like, man, Mikal Bridges does not belong there. Like, that guy is too good to be in a net jersey. Let's bring him over to the New York Knicks this summer. Let's complete that Villanova trio. You know, like, let's just call it what it is, you know? Like, and what I said to, you know, somebody earlier was, if you're a Net fan, now's the time. I will give you a 2-week pass. Demand a trade. Demand a trade. Demand a trade. All your players do it, so I'm allow your fans to do it too. You got 2 weeks to demand a trade, sell all your Brooklyn Nets gear, but I don't want you to just say you sold it. I want to see the money. I want to see the receipts, or I want pictures of the jerseys burning, and then you buy season passes to Madison Square Garden next year, and then you're forgiven. Your sins are atoned for. Like, you are good. You know, so it was funny to watch that game. Like, the chemistry we had was incredible. If we play like that the rest of the season, I honestly don't think that there are many teams that can go 7 games with us, like, straight up with that kind of heart. Like Josh Hart, that one freaking steal that he did while jumping out of bounds, like, that thing was incredible. Like, he looked like freaking Magneto out there, like, just like stealing crap. That junk was impressive. So I'm excited. I loved it, man.
Yeah, go ahead, Breeze.
Man, look, man, I don't got no political answers for them Brooklyn boys. Y'all was raising hell. First off, let's start at the beginning. KD is my favorite player, right? So the time Steven, they gassed me up to believe, right? Y'all remember a time it was supposed to be Zion, KD, and Kyrie. Y'all remember that?
I remember. Oh yeah, I remember all those videos on ESPN. I remember that.
Exactly. So when them dreams got crushed and they went down the block to Brooklyn, even though I'm a Brooklyn boy, wasn't acceptable. Ever since then, it been hell, because every time we see them boys, we'll play them close, and then you got KD, you got Kyrie. So all of their fans, even down to the role players on their team, you got Nick Claxton thinking he's somebody because Big Brother's over there protecting you all the time. Okay, let's see how you fight by yourself, Nick Claxton. Let's see your left-right game. So all of a sudden, you don't look as confident. Your voice don't got as much bigger in it as it did when you had KD Kyrie. So every time we get a chance, if for nothing else, for the Villanova group chat, because it's two, and we got 2 of them boys over there. They got 1 over there. Y'all make sure Mikal Bridges never got nothing to say in that group chat. You keep him silent and put on do not disturb. We ain't got nothing for Brooklyn over there. Y'all ain't doing nothing else with us for no time in the foreseeable future. Keep taking these L's, and your fans is playing victim, and I don't like it. When if we would have tried to pull up to the space when they had KD and Kyrie, they would have got the velvet rope, which I need some water. We pull up after wins, and now they got security systems. They got cameras set up over there. I don't like it. I don't like the system stuff. So yeah, we gotta smoke them every time.
No, definitely, bro. And it's because you remember, because we all remember when Kevin Durant went on Hot 97 and he said that the Knicks, they're not it. You know, they're not the fun thing about New York City. Now the other foot is the foot has changed. Now the story has changed a little bit. Now Net fans, they want to backtrack. They want to do revisionist history, like they weren't screaming from the mountaintops when they first got Kevin Durant that they was going to take over the city. And the first thing Kevin Durant says when he leaves is, "What y'all expect me to win a championship with Scoot Henderson?" Like, what did Scoot Henderson do to deserve this type of hate? He ain't do a damn thing, right? Scoot Henderson just goes out there and plays basketball. KD, that was cannon fire right there, KD. But no, when it comes to the way that this team was put together, the way that the Nets was put together, like Breeze said, we remember those thumbnails that Knicks fans were sold when they had KD, Kyrie, and Zion Williamson on those fake thumbnails, and We didn't get him. We didn't even get John Morant. We got RJ Barrett. Shout out to RJ Barrett also. But when you look at this team, we did it the right way. You know, you guys all remember that press conference that Giannis had after winning the championship. And he said, listen, it'll be easy for him to go to another team and go to a super team and win a championship. He did it the hard way, and he did it the way that you're supposed to do it in Milwaukee. The way that the Knicks did it, we did it the tough way. We went through aberration for several years, 20 years, up and down, you know, trying to figure out if we're going to get a superstar, we're not going to get a superstar. Now we have Julius and Jalen Brunson. And my only question to you, Breeze, is what does Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle has to do for the NBA community and NBA fans, or just NBA media in general, to recognize both of them as a superstar? What do you think either one of them have to do to get that label superstar attached to them so we can finally say we have a superstar?
So, for one, I don't think Jalen Brunson wants the recognition. So we got two type of people right now. Julius clearly, like, you could watch his game when he you know, he takes matchups personally. He knows when they're televised games. I don't have any problems with it, but you could tell he wants the recognition on that level. Jalen don't care about nothing y'all talking about because he know it's never gonna be good enough. I'm 6'1", I'm a point guard, I drop 20, I give you 6 dimes, I'm doing it in one of the biggest markets ever. I can't get to the All-Star game, but I could somehow be the player of the month in the same month.
Yeah.
So, like, at that point, you know there's nothing you can do, because while there's a Jalen Brunson in the league, there's also a Dame Lillard in the league. There's a Trae Young in the league. It's a names more than game for most of them. Because if you're looking at our point guard, we have a high efficient point guard for modern day basketball. Let me say that again. For modern day basketball, you got a dude shooting 50% damn near, 40% from the three, usually 80% at the line. If you're looking at high usage guards, that's not how that normally goes. You know, it's a lot more turnovers. It's a lot more just bad decision making, you know, but the flashy play, they make the highlights. Jalen Brunson don't make the highlights. So immediately he don't have as much fans. So for Jalen Brunson, I don't think he cares. I do think if he does it on the playoff, so like if we get the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round, so much storylines to do it, because Jalen Brunson just stepped on a spider last season. He just stepped on him. So if he comes in and does it now, he'll start to get that recognition, because we're watching Luka with an all-star guard in Dallas, and they still figuring it out. The constant for us is Jalen Brunson. So Mark Cuban already starting to look crazy. Julius Randle, his easiest path is to not play like he played in the playoffs the last time we've seen him. If you look like a semblance of what you look like in a regular season, Jalen Brunson is going to carry you through some things. So for Julius Randle, if you because he's on pace, he's an all-star, on pace to possibly make an all-NBA team, your last demon is the playoffs. So if you can figure out how to playoffs, I think he could then move into solidified star. But to be honest, we in the New York market, man, the names are everything attached to superstars dealing with the New York Knicks. So I don't think they'll get those tags, to be honest.
Great point. Jiggaman's in the building.
What up? Yo, Breeze, my guy, what's good?
What it look like? What's goody, man?
I'm gonna be real, Breeze. I saw you guys do the Twitter Spaces post game. I thought I was gonna wake up in the morning with the KC like new initials. Like, what would it be? Knicks chatter after the KCAA, like
the
bro,
after.
I was like, I
after.
didn't even know what to do. I opened up Twitter. I was like, where do I go? What do I do?
Now we gotta make sure the energy up. We gotta make sure the energy and the vibes is right for the Knicks, man. Because it was a point in time I was like, yo, I'm being so critical of this team, because mind you, I just got to my fandom where I am now, probably about 10 odd games ago, right? So before then, it was kind of like, you know, I'm taking the information, because we had to get so much to get here. Rotation's been set. We had to get through some injuries. We had to get through some coaching switch ups, rotation changes. So it was so much information changing. I couldn't be fully invested. When things started to look like I can clearly see what's going on right now,
Yeah.
I got invested. So and then by the time I got invested, I'm like, yo, we got 20 games left. So we got to turn up the rest of these 20.
Yeah.
We got to turn up the rest of these 20.
Oh snap, we're good again.
Yeah, yeah.
You feel
But
me?
it was warranted. It was warranted, Breeze, especially when you look at our organization for the past 20 years. We always get hype. We always get hype. Being a Knicks fan, it's like everybody has that one friend in the friend group that they're in a toxic ass relationship, and everybody is telling them leave that person, and they're like, no, that one time we went on vacation, it was nice, and we went to Hawaii, and it was all good and sweet. That's how it is being a Knicks fan, because all of our friends are telling us, why are you rooting for this team? Because it's my team, it's my bums. It's like the Brooklyn Dodgers back in the day. You weren't coming. If you were outside of Brooklyn, you weren't coming into Brooklyn to call them bump, because those are our bumps. Just like this team, this is our teams, and we go rock out with our team no matter what.
Yeah, and that was one of the things, though, right? Where I respected what you would say, Breeze, was you and I were a lot similar in the beginning, where it was we weren't going to get too high, we weren't going to get too low. We were like, yo, answer my questions before you start getting me hype, right? And that's where we're at, right? It's okay. And then we've talked about on the show where everybody's like, oh, here you go backtracking. No, it's not backtracking. You're allowed to change your takes with your team. If you're a fan, you're going to adjust how you feel about the team and your players based on their gameplay, right? So the fact that we're able to sit here and be like, hey, we didn't ever say too bad or too good. We wanted to see success, and now we're starting to see it. And, man, like you said, we got to get turned up. Because right now, no one expected this. Hands down.
No.
All right. And those are all those that now are like, oh, yeah, I saw the writing up. You are foolish. Yeah. All right. Because it wasn't happening. All right. You said it yourself.
Wait, we was talking playing. We was talking, let's be clear.
Yes.
Right.
We was talking play in at the 7th seed at the highest peak for like general consensus. If you look at national media, if you're looking at national media, barely playing. Like they had us, they had us about 10.
They didn't even know how to spell Knicks. Now they can't stop saying our name out their mouth, right? I mean, you got Charles Barkley over here talking about Brunson the man. And we're gonna touch. Yes, I know, chat. I saw it right in the beginning of the episode. Everybody was already like, "Oh, we definitely we're gonna have to touch on Richard Jefferson. It's coming. We're gonna talk about Richard Jefferson, all right? Because everybody is on that."
And before we transition into that, like two things. Because I've been watching, and listening to your takes all season, Breeze. What I like about the way you've gone about it, is that you don't just go off emotion. You always have facts of why you feel that way. I think as fandom, it kind of gets a little lost, and your opinions don't really matter as much if there's not something to back it up. Like you can say you think this player's trash. Okay, but why? Those were the last 10 games he's played are the best of his career. How's that player trash? But you've always come with the reasons of why you feel that way. And so when we're talking about how media sees us, they haven't really paid attention all season to see the progression. They only now see when the forest fire is burning at its brightest. Like all of us started seeing it after that Mavericks game, the changes that were happening. Now that everything's in flames and people are like watching teams get burned alive by us, they want to pay attention. But one thing I will say is to Hector's question on when will they start seeing us stars, I think the ones who are starting to see it are the ones that are kind of being silenced by a lot of other people. Because in an interview recently, JJ Redick was talking about how he thinks that we have 2 stars. And, in conversations, there have been people that have acknowledged them as stars. Then some people want to go like, is it a superstar? Well, what dictates it as a superstar? Because there's, things that are out right now that are saying that in the top 25 of current players right now, I think it was Brutus that shared it with a few of us the other day, that Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are both making that list for top 25 current players. Does that make them a star? What really makes them a star? So to me, like, I look at not only their stats on paper, but are they making the team better? You got a lot of players that are being called superstars, and yet their teams are absolutely tanking. Like, can you really call Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden superstars when their team is not getting better by having them on it? I look at Jalen Brunson and I'm like, every single person on our team, the fact that Randall is in these categories now is because of the partnership with Jalen Brunson. So to me, I have to say Jalen Brunson is a star because you've always looked at past stars as people that can make you better. Like you watch the Last Dance documentary of Michael Jordan. They can talk about how much of a jerk he was, but they all say he did those things and it still made us better. Like, think what you want about him as a person, but he made his team better. Like, you had guys like Kerr and Paxton that probably would have not been anything on other teams that started to shine because you had a player that made him better. Jalen Brunson's that guy. So to me, he is a star. For Julius Randle, I need to see how he does in the playoffs. Like, I do. We've already seen how Jalen Brunson can produce in the playoffs. So that's why we don't need that criteria from him. He's come into a team that was needing direction, and he brought it. Julius Randle is playing incredible, but he's got to execute in the playoffs. He can't disappear. Yeah. If he disappears like he did in the bubble, then no, I can't call him a star. But media is talking, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. Before we jump into, I just want to say three keys that we're going to have going forward, right? Or just 3 points of emphasis. Like you said, Julius Randle has to have that redemption story from when we was in the postseason last time against the Atlanta Hawks. That has to happen. We need to recognize that Jalen Brunson, he's actually the son from the movie Coach Carter. He's actually Coach Carter's son. That's actually who he is, right? And number 3, Knick fans, whatever you guys do this postseason, when we get to the playoffs, can we retire the bing bong? I don't want to hear no bing bongs. I don't want to hear none of that. Retire the bingy bongs. No more bingy bongs.
Bro, I had that shirt on, and even the shirt, I was like, I love the shirt. I didn't want to wear it. I don't want to do it no more, right? So it's now become the T-shirt that I sleep in shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I rock it around the house. Even my kids look at me, and I'm like,
yeah, retire the bing bong. Retire the bing bong. So
hey,
go ahead.
Before we jump next one into that next topic real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
Breeze, you had said something before. You said Cuban looking stupid, right? With the whole runs. Bro, like, I really agree with you 100% on that. Like, his Shark Tank stocks had to all drop, all right, if you're watching Jalen Brunson at this point, all right?
Well, he's never been the best on Shark Tank if you actually watch the show. I'm just saying.
We all love you, Mr. Wonderful.
So this is the problem with Cuban, because I'm a huge Shark Tank guy. I follow Damon
Fubu
a lot more because he talks about how in every deal he goes with the idea of like the power of broke. He wrote a whole book about it, that when he invests in something or when he buys into something, he takes himself back to when he was broke and first started Fubu. And he's like, if I don't succeed on this, endeavor, it's not worth doing. I won't make any moves. I think Mark Cuban has too much money that he doesn't realize how stupid some of his decisions can be. And I'm thankful for that. The fact that you see Jalen Brunson and you could have had him for half of what we got him if you would have signed him in the beginning of last season, half. And now you're seeing him now and going, crap, he's worth double what they're paying him. Like, I screwed up. Like, Mark Cuban, I love you, man, but that was the stupidest NBA decision I have seen in years.
Mark Cuban, thank you. I mean, come on. Let's
two moves. Trading for Kristaps Porzingis, trading for Kyrie Irving. You have Luka Doncic, who's probably a superstar, probably one of then once LeBron James retire, he's probably going to have the mantle of being the best player in the NBA, right? With Luka Doncic. And you wasted opportunities to build a team around him by bringing in KP, who was a headache in New York and was injury prone. And we all know the circus that Kyrie Irving is. We all know the talent Kyrie Irving has. We know that he's a great point guard. He is probably the dribble god, but he has to put it together on the court. And when he doesn't put it together on the court, it's a circus show. And I'm just sitting back with my popcorn, waiting to see how long it's going to last before it blows up in their face, honestly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Breeze, I got a question for you, man, because Phil was talking about stars, right? And I know we've all had the conversation on, we agree, we believe we do have stars on our team, right? What is a star entitle? What does that mean these days? Am I crazy? Because we've talked about this, I'd say 2 months ago, where I said, I'm not worried about us bringing in a star. I'd rather see a collective unit playing together with chemistry than worried about some name that comes in expecting to be the savior. Am I crazy in thinking I'd rather see what we have right now than going and worrying about bringing another star?
I got news for you. This star thing for current NBA is a myth. It's a myth. We're watching experiments fail. First of all three of y'all off the top of y'all head, what is the NBA currently without, like, the NBA history in the past maybe decade without Steph or LeBron?
You right.
So that means everybody else is trying and failing, right? So there's two things that happen because we done seen a lot of experiments. We watching Minnesota currently experiment. They draft picks is gone. They playing the best they've ever played without a star in Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, cool. AD and LeBron. AD only plays when LeBron plays. He only plays when LeBron plays.
That's true.
If you invested Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, and Brandon Ingram, okay, we go to the Clippers. The Clippers have 4 teams on it right now. They're the Houston Rockets. They're the Oklahoma City Thunder. They like 4 teams right now, right?
And they traded Shea for PG-13. They traded Shea.
They traded Shea and picks. So if this quote unquote doesn't work out, what do? So then after those experiments fail, even Chicago down to the Vucevic trade, like you when you make these deals, you either have to go deeper in the hole you already dug, you have to reset. Both are ends of the spectrum. Now, the best dynasty that didn't happen only because of narrative was Kevin Durant to the Warriors. If he would have stayed there, they'd have been good for a while. What's the difference between that dynasty and every other one? The team was already built. They added Kevin Durant.
Yep.
They didn't trade anything.
Yep.
The team was set already. We missing one piece. One piece is him. And they won a championship before this. But LeBron came, and messed some things up. But they would have been the only true quote unquote dynasty. And then the team was already built. They brought KD in. So I said about, I think 20, 30 games in, I was like, okay, mid is probably the new place you want to be in the NBA.
Exactly. Thank you.
I'm gonna let you know why.
Mid, we made the word mid cool. Okay, mid is officially cool. You're welcome.
I'm gonna let you know why. So and then we can move on.
Hold on, Breeze. Before you do that, I want you to know, because the chat pointed out too, while you were talking, I swear a Nets fan about jumped you, bro. This man was up. It looked like he was trying to get
somebody literally walked by you.
Yeah, someone came to your car.
Was like,
yeah. Yo, Breeze,
I was like,
about the car. Who's that? Who's got the car? Bro, just making sure you get. Just blink if you're in trouble, bro. Just blink for us if you need help.
No, we good. We good on this side. That's funny.
I'm sorry. I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh.
He did pull up. He was talking close.
I could have sworn he pulled on your door.
Yeah, I was like, nah. Yeah, he was closing his door. He was going inside. Yeah. So Jalen. So first off, in the era of supermaxes, we have none. No supermax, not one. Right. So Jalen Brunson. What is he? 16th highest paid point guard. Julius Randle, fairly ideal. RJ Barrett makes less than Jordan Poole and Tyler Hero, if we talking those type of deals, right? Cool, we did that. You're in a good space because now, if you want the option of completing deals for like dudes like Emmanuel quickly, dudes you can't really give the number they want if you have like supermax guys, because Portland got Dame. They had to get rid of Josh Hart because it just wasn't. We can't pay you. We can't pay you, bro. So financial things have to get done. Then we don't know what the next generation of the NBA is. This is the perfect thing of the move.
Yep.
A lot of contending stars have 30+ odd year olds on it, but us. Right. We're the only, and I would say maybe the Kings, right? So you can see, like, the next generation, you got LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, Luka's gonna be there, Tatum's gonna be there. Got to figure out what Brown is gonna do. He's a part of that little group. Booker, but I mean, they're not gonna have too much cap space going forward. If we're talking about the next generation of NBA, nobody knows what that is, which is why everybody's trying to get it now. But the only thing is, while you getting it now, you have to give out so much assets. And currently, the Knicks are like, look, man, if I'm not breaking this up, if we don't for sure know we're contending, because we had the chance to get Donovan Mitchell, but what we would have lost is not this. We don't do this. And if the Knicks, let me look in the camera. If the Knicks end up with a better record than the Cleveland Cavaliers, unfollow me. It's gonna get so nasty on here. It's gonna get disgusting.
Oh man, I'm waiting, Breeze, because I am a petty bastard. You could call me Pettysaurus Rex. I am a petty one. If the Knicks are able to knock off the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs, knock on wood, knock on everything I can knock on, I am going to be running through the streets of New York City screaming at the top of my lungs, because everybody said you need to just dump everything and just get Donovan Mitchell. You need to dump everything and get Donovan Mitchell. We have done that same circus show over and over and over again. When it comes to trading assets and picks, that's how we got Stephon Marbury. We were stuck with Stephon Marbury. Trading assets as picks, that's how we got Steve Francis. That's how we got Eddie Curry. It was the same old story being told, just differently. Finally, you can say that this team has finally have a level of consistency. Yeah, we didn't make the playoffs last year, but these 3 seasons with Tom Thibodeau hasn't been a roller coaster like the coaching times we had with Mike D'Antoni. It wasn't a circus like we had with Isaiah Thomas. It wasn't a circus like we have with Hornacek, Derek Fisher, and everything else. This is finally a time that we can say we have been consistent for these 3 seasons, and it hasn't been a circus show. Julius Randle flipping fans off and giving the thumbs down. That's about it. Besides that, you don't got no sexual assault cases going on in the front office. You don't got no allegations going on in the front office and nothing like that. James Dolan, he's finally.
Oh, you mean no
out.
one's beating up on 17-year-old kids? Oh my bad.
I was gonna say arrested. Hopefully John Moran. Allegedly. That's a good, nice save, Breeze. Appreciate that, Brody. But when you look at that at the NBA draft that we got R.J. Barrett, and you look at that Zion Williamson, he's always injured. John Morant now has this legal trouble. I think we're safe with the 3rd pick with R.J. Barrett. I think we can say we're safe with the pick with R.J.
When
Barrett.
our headache is that he just isn't finding his shot right now, I'll take that headache right now.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that 100%. I don't need R.J. Barrett going over to West 4th and beating up little kids in a pickup game. I don't need that, right? So just going forward. Just go forward, Phil. I'm gonna throw it over to you. Going forward down the stretch line, what do you need to see from this team? What do you think we need to focus on? What keys do you have that we should tone in before we get to the playoffs? My fault.
Yeah. So for me, honestly, all we need to see is what we all know RJ can do. Like, we just need a consistent RJ, in my opinion. If RJ can be a 15 to 18 point per game kind of guy, we don't need him to be a 40 point per game kind of guy. We have those guys. Like, RJ is best when RJ causes enough trouble for it to be an issue for the other team, and we don't have to see anything forced. I feel like he puts way too much pressure on his shoulders. And I think that we've all kind of put that pressure on his shoulders as well. Like, anyone who's a Knicks fan that has spoken before, we've put a lot of pressure on this guy's shoulders. Like, oh, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, constantly. Like, I feel like we nitpick when it comes to him. Like, oh, he had a 40-point game, but his shoe color wasn't as great as it should have been. He should have wore these. We're just like, why are we always looking for something with RJ? So that's why I always say, like you said, Hector, we complain so much and say we demand more from him. He's the 3rd pick. Okay. The number 1 pick that season has never played a full season. We don't have so much to complain about. This kid comes out and he at least tries night in and night out. Whether he fails or not, he's been there. We could have gotten the number 1 pick and he could have played 60 games over 2 seasons. Like, cool. John Morant, like you said, drama going on. I'd rather have a player that we don't have to worry about if he's going to wind up in a legal situation come playoff time and no longer be available. we have someone that's going to produce. So all I want is consistency from RJ. We've seen consistency start to happen with every other player. After the All-Star break, Grimes came back with like a fuel under his like behind where he was just like, nah, when I play freely, like what you guys saw in the Rising Star game, I'm uncontainable. I'm going to play like that in our games. And you're seeing that it's worked, and coaching and management hasn't locked it down because they've seen that it works. They see that he's able to do these kind of things. And so they're all playing really, really well on each other. I want to just see the consistency. There was like a 5-minute stretch in that last game that all of us, you could see on the Twitter, that was just like, Randall, don't do this. Don't go back to that. Don't go back to that. It was a lot of like forced ISO play where he was turning the ball over because he was trying too hard to like do something himself. He wasn't even looking for people. Then he went back to being selfless Randall. So as long as we don't go back to those old habits that sometimes can be appealing, I think we got this. Like, I think we can really, really contend. I'm starting after that game. I'm starting to drink from Hector's Kool-Aid of Eastern Conference. Here we come. Like, you know, like, if
he's muted. Like, you're muted. Oh, you ruined it.
Oh, Hector.
This is what happens when you mute me, bro. This is what happens when you mute me. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid, baby. Sipping it. It's purple. It's only purple. Only purple Kool-Aid is made in my house growing up.
I'm breaking through buildings with my, oh yeah, you know, I'm feeling that Kool-Aid myself. Like, we ready to go in and do what we got to do. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the future. I really think we have a chance. I don't remember who it was, but they were just like, we talk about maybe getting to Eastern Conference, but if we get to Eastern Conference Championship and we win that, like, who really on the West are we worried about? Maybe the Nuggets, you know, but who else? Like, who else are we really worried about on the West?
We need to calm down. Let's calm down. Let's calm down a little bit. I be sipping Kool-Aid. I be sipping Kool-Aid. I be drinking watermelon and all that. I be drinking lemonade, watermelon, sugar high, all that, bro. That's me. But let me go look up.
Hear me out, Bobby. Hear me out.
Bobby from the fifth floor. All right.
If we can get through, like, the East is where the problems really are this year. Like, the East is the stronger division, you know. So if we're gonna say that we can compete in the Eastern Conference, like, I'm less worried about the Western Conference than I am our road to get to that position. Like, who really in the West am I worried about besides Denver?
Listen, the last time a player came out there and said, "I'm not worried about nobody coming out the West," the Avengers showed up in the West, in Phoenix and in Dallas. I'm good. I don't need to talk about anybody from the West, bro. I don't need stupid teams forming overnight because of the waiver wires and shit like that. I'm good.
I had to take myself off camera because the water came out. I was like, "Oh crap!" I had to wipe off the microphone.
To the next topic. I'm sick of this.
All right, so you know what? Let's jump into this one. We got Breeze a little longer, so you know I want to touch on this, and I know the chat's about to go crazy with it. It is audio in the beginning, so I'll play that first, and then we'll jump back up here. But let's listen to the crazy talk.
Front office. Like, I know Knicks fans are always grumpy, and I like picking at them and messing with them because, for the most part, Knicks fans are stupid, right? And they have been complaining and whining for years. Your front office has done an outstanding job. A+. Now, I know you guys are going to continue crying and whining because that's what New Yorkers do. I love New York. I moved there when I was 21. Favorite city in the world. So you guys complain. But your team has been amazing. Your front office has been 10 out of 10. They won the free agency pickup in Brunson. I don't know what Brian is talking about because alleged. If you're guilty, that's when you lose the pick. So when they were tampering, they gave up the pick. There was no alleged. They were found guilty in a court of basketball law, right? So that's that part. And then they go get Josh Hart. He's an adult, and he's a great adult. I've been a fan of him for a long time because he fills in the gaps. He's a competitor. He's a guy that can knock down a three, defend multiple positions, take a charge, anything that you want. Great teams are littered with Josh Harts. That's why you go get a Josh Hart. That's why lots of teams want him. So you guys did it in free agency. You did it at the trade deadline. You didn't get the sexiest big name out there. You went and got the right name. You have the highest level of upward movement, as Brian said. So, Knicks fans, congratulations. You guys, in my opinion, are the biggest winner of something this year. We haven't figured.
Breeze, I'm taking it with you first, man. This man is talking crazy. How you feel about it?
First off, let me say, the energy that he's giving, this is a nice little redirect he's doing here. It's a redirect. He spit right back at the Knicks fans. But no, Richard, we doing our own civil wars over here. We want to talk about what you had to say about the team. Because you've been on ESPN terrorizing the whole time. Why are you coming at Knicks fans? No, let's talk about some of the things you've said over the past couple times. He said the team didn't need Kyrie or KD, and they'd still be better than the Knicks. Well, would you look at the smoking that's been happening, sir? Would you look at that? I don't want to hear nothing about your views on our fan base. We know we nuts over here. We dealing with our own stuff. We got to talk about how you kind sir, be on national airwaves, spreading the hate, spreading the misinformation because you are he's an analyst for Yes. So he be watching them live. So he knows that there's talent on this team. He gets to watch them up close and personal. But he chooses his segments on ESPN to go ahead and spread the narrative of Knicks for clicks and all that because it's a spiel. It's a spiel. He don't look at his own social media. He got assistants. He's probably waving out all of the Knicks media so he can just see his normal timeline. But no, Richard Jefferson, talk about the stuff you said. We don't want to hear about stuff that we said. We dealing with that over here. I want to hear you directly address the things that you said now that we cooking everybody in the league, including Jason Tatum. Okay?
Yes, that's a fact.
Tell him, Breeze.
As somebody who's a member of the follically challenged community, just like Richard Jefferson is bald himself, right? I just got to say one thing. Richard Jefferson, we all his baldness is synonymous, with like one of like a police officer, right? So through all that, right, the only ACAB that I would say is that Richard Jefferson, he was a signed cop at birth with that bald head, but before that, he fought through it and he was able to make it to where he's at right now, looking like a 2016 NBA 2K created player, right? So Richard Jefferson, we got love for you. We all know it's love and hate. New York City is the best city in the world, but we need to hear what you were saying about our team, because a couple of years ago, or even 3 seasons ago, with the whole KD, Kyrie, Zion Williamson, the first person to come out there and make fun of the Knicks was Richard Jefferson, right? So don't have any type of revisionist history 3 years later when finally we are the top seed in the East coming out of New York, and the team that you are an alum for, because you're an alum for the Nets and stuff like that. Your team is looking like it's on the odd way looking out. Let's see if they even make the play-in tournament. Richard Jefferson, I got a lot of love for you, but this wasn't it. And we may be a little bit stupid, but that's about it.
Here's the thing. If someone who's been rocking with us the whole time, let's say Kendrick Perkins, he's been rocking with us all season. If he was to say something like, yeah, Knicks fans can be a little stupid sometimes, yeah, you're right. Like no problem, Perk. You've seen it the whole time. You probably been in our narrative Twitter spaces before. You've seen us going at each other's necks. I'll get you. But when it's someone who has to come out and first make an attack to kind of justify the fact that he's going to say something nice, it's one of those people that hates to say I was wrong. Like that's what it comes down to. Like he does not want to have to solely focus on the fact that he's saying I was wrong, I made mistakes, look at this team, and so you have the most respect for people when they lose an argument and they come back and go, you're right, I was wrong, it is what it is. Like you have respect for those kind of people. It's when the people come back and they're like, I'm wrong, but here's why it's still okay, I was wrong, and that's what this whole thing is that he's trying to be like, oh, well, there's still a problem with New York, even though they're this. And it's like, what does that one have to do with the other? Like, you don't have the right to talk about Knick fandom. You've never cared about the Knicks. You've never supported the Knicks. You actually don't know anything about Knick fandom, because even though we go at each other, we're also in each other's like chats and stuff like that, showing support to one another, regardless of the fact that we bit each other's heads off the last one. You know, we were complaining, but we worked through it. You know, we got through it. So my problem with this is everything he's saying is facts when it comes to Jalen Brunson and it comes to Josh Hart. But he has to water it down first by taking a stab. That's the problem. That's the problem, where he's allowing his emotions of the fact that he was never really good enough. He watched us kick the teeth in of the New Jersey Nets, and it just reminded him of how ugly he looked in a Nets uniform and that he should have never went to the wrong team of New York. Like, go back to New Jersey, all right? You are not You're the New Jersey Nets of analysts right now, okay? You're living in the glory days. You can't acknowledge what's really happening in the NBA right now, so you got to find a way to cover it up. Thank you for the recognition that our team is better than all the teams you support.
The thoughts and views shared by Phil Porto do not reflect the views and of the Morning Brew Sports. Just
yes, they do. Yes, they do. Put this on a banner.
You might have to save that recording. You might have to save it.
Yeah. I gotta put it up in front of every video. We gonna have to start it before every show.
Completely.
Get me that man's email address. Get me his email address. I'll send it to him right now. With my face.
One thing I gotta say is Richard Jefferson, he has found his second career when it comes to being an analysis and being a TikTok content creator, because he actually is pretty funny on TikTok. That's one thing I gotta say about Richard Jefferson. Besides that, ain't nothing else. Go ahead, Jigga.
Yeah. We just did it. We attacked him, and then we said, but his TikTok, look, we did it too. We're learning, guys. We are becoming Nets media. I'm just kidding.
Nope. That's him. That's him. I don't like your TikTok either. All right? Start dancing. Maybe I'll care about your TikTok.
But my thing is, guys, I'm one of those that I love when I see stuff like this. Yeah, we know a lot of it's clickbait. It's all that. But to me, when every network is covering our Knicks, when our team has forced them to talk about them, that just makes me happy, okay? Because the only time people were bringing this up was, oh, they didn't get a star. Ooh, they can't bring nobody here. Ooh, they don't know how to use their guys. Ooh, they got the worst coach, right? It's always negative. Now they're trying to, as media people, they're trying to figure out, man, how can we still be negative when the Knicks are being this damn good? So I enjoy every single one of these, from the Barclays to the KPs to any of the haters out there, the ones that love or hate. Keep it coming, because our boys ain't playing around. But here's the next question I want to talk about, Heck.
Go ahead.
And we'll throw to you first and Breeze. But we all know we on that 7-0. We spanking Brooklyn. The team is on fuego. We got Heat tonight, right?
Miami tonight.
Definitely want to win, obviously. Now, I always, in sports, I always have that moment where I'm like, man, when you go on those winning streaks, there's going to come that hiccup, right? So I'm looking at the schedule right now. I'm like, where do I want that hiccup to be? We can't have it be tonight, right? It can't be against the Heat. We need to keep winning in that win column, right? Yep. So that I know it's a weird question, but where do we want to see that one hiccup to then get that streak going again, right? Because it's going to come. Obviously, I'm hoping we get past. What was the last one? 9 was the biggest one this year.
Yeah, it was 9. Yeah. For the season.
So do we want to look at the schedule? We definitely need the 9 streak going.
Well, I'm gonna say this right here when it comes to that, right? And you just made a great point. But
hold on, Phil. The count is back for you, bro.
7. Love you too. The one thing that I'm gonna say when it comes to that, right, is that I don't want to say a hiccup. I don't want to try to look for a hiccup game that we may lose or whatever. What I'm gonna say is that at the trade deadline, coming back from the All-Star break, right? When we was looking at the schedule, we were talking about games that were must-win games for us to make a statement, statement games for us to show people that we should be taken serious, right? Now, when we look at the schedule, those same games that were must-win games for us, that were statement games for us, those could possibly turn into trap games. And those are games that we have to avoid falling down bad habits and losing those type of games. Because in the beginning of the season, before we got Josh Hart, the one thing that people could say was the biggest question mark about our team was, can we close games out? Right? Can we actually be good in the third quarter and the fourth quarter? Can we do the little things to make sure that we secure a victory and a win? We're doing that now, right? All we have to do is keep that same momentum, keep that same mind frame going forward. And like I said, instead of looking at these games as, oh, this could be a hiccup, or this is a must win, or this is a statement game, now we have to focus on, wow, we better make sure that we win tonight, because tonight seems like a trap game against Miami. We better make sure that we win tonight against the Nets, the Celtics, and enter whatever Eastern Conference team you want. But we just need to win these games and avoid trap games. We got to just go in them with the same momentum and the same high we've been riding since the start of this 7-game win streak. Don't take anybody for granted, because this is still the NBA at the end of the day. On any given night, any team can beat another team depending on the circumstances, right? So keep that same intensity. Tom Thibodeau, you could tell that during the season, Tom Thibodeau, he's become a new person. I don't know what happened. I think his doppelganger took control of him when he got that little goatee. I think that's what it was. But Tom Thibodeau, he's smiling. He's embracing the players.
He's in the club.
Yeah, he in the club right now. He going to the after hour spots and everything like that. So Tom
he
Thibodeau,
dressed like Kyle. He dressed like Kyle Kuzma.
Yo, you can tell Kyle Kuzma is his fashion guru. You can tell Kyle Kuzma gives Tom Thibodeau tips when it comes to fashion. But no, I'm happy to see that even at the age that he is in, Tom Thibodeau, there's never too late for an old dog to learn new tricks. It's never too late for these old school minded, conservative type of older folks to come around to the new age of things. Just embrace your young kids, and that's what it looks like he's done. He has a point guard that he finally believes in when it comes to Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson may be soft-spoken, may not have all that personality, but when he walks by Tom Thibodeau, he always says something to Tom Thibodeau to make him chuckle and make him laugh during the middle of the game. And that's one thing I can say that I'm happy to see from Tom Thibodeau. He's actually smiling, and he doesn't look like he's going to have an aneurysm on the side of the court.
It kind of feels like we all saw it, right? Where that moment where Tibbs was like, shit, man, if I can't beat him, might as well join him, right? Like,
basically,
he was like, all right, guys, you know what? Obviously, I don't know what the hell I'm doing at this point. Everybody's beating me up. Everybody's saying it's my fault. He's like, all right, here's the game plan. Do something, guys. Go for it.
He's that substitute teacher
you sitting there.
He's that substitute teacher that finally caved into the kids. Like, all right, cool. We could watch little foot in the Land Before Time for the 10th time in a row. Let's go.
I love it. So Breeze, like with us being 7-0, looking at the schedule going ahead, got Miami tonight. Before I give my take, I want to know your take. Like Jigga was saying, are there any games that you're just like, this is one that I'm kind of like weary about, or this is one of the ones that we really, really need to make sure we deliver on? Like what kind of games are you seeing ahead that are kind of important for us moving forward?
So I was looking at the schedule. Now, mind you, I think I wanted the team after the All-Star break. I think the number I had them at with win-wise was like, what was it, 25 games? No, we played 4 games since the All-Star, and it'll be the 5th one tonight. So I think 25.
Yeah, I think we were at like 23 or 24 games right after the break, right?
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, 24, I believe. So I think it was I think I wanted like a 14 and like 10 record, right? And I'm just like, well, shit, because we cook it right now. We cook it right now. So I just got news for y'all. We very well may never lose again. I'm just trying to. It's possible we don't lose again.
Let's go. It's time to think big, people.
Yes,
it's possible, man. I'm looking at bench lineups, man. Like immediately when you for what? Here's a couple things that changed with Knicks basketball. When you beat us, you got to beat us. Like you have to beat us. Like you have to be better than us. So your normal game that you come in with is not enough. You have to then exceed your normal play to beat us. That's what's been happening. The defense, the drop coverage done turned into switching. Not only did it turn into switching, you're switching with perimeter defenders of Emmanuel Quickly, Joshua Hart, and Quentin Grimes. Barrett has been making concerted efforts on defense. Obi topping the scoring, and we're not seeing as much dunks. However, if you're watching him on defense, he looks a lot more agile because everybody was just blowing by him for like the first 20, 30 games. So the concept defensively changed. The rotations. Nobody's doing anything out of the ordinary anymore. We had our first Quentin Grimes breakout game last game, and it was just like the only difference in that Quentin Grimes game and probably the past 6 or 7 where he's been averaging like 5 or 6 points, he just took more shots. The shots aren't any different.
The confidence was there.
Yeah. Like after the Rising Stars game, I was hoping that, because he belonged on that stage. Like he was one of the best players in that little tournament. So like as a player, I don't know if he struggles with confidence, but sometimes you need to see like your peers to know where you're at. And if you could perform on them type of stages, it does something different. So coming out of the game, Josh Hart, while everybody thinks it could have been a possible like detractor to development, he does the things that everybody else does not want to do. So then that makes your job easier. Quentin Grimes could just come into games like the defense is going to be there. The aggression is what we need from you because you are our main shooter in the lineup. You have to have some sort of aggression when you taking them shots. That's one. RJ Barrett, for a lot of the things defensively, we want you offensively to break out. Defensively, we need you to have a better effort because if you don't have 1-8, you're guarding the hardest position as far as the wings now. Wings took over guards, I'll probably say like maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago. Like them Tatums and them KDs and Giannis's, like that became like the number 1 position. So you're guarding those on 1B. So that's changed. So if everybody's job is kind of encompassed, because we making more hustle plays, we getting more loose balls, more steals, more deflections. Like even if you watch the rotations out of doubles now, like they have to make the 4th pass or they don't get the shot. Like before we used to trap, it used to be 1 pass, somebody's open. I'm watching the rotation cover at least the first 3 passes before somebody's open. And that puts pressure on whoever that 4th dude is to make that shot.
Right.
So I have to say, we ain't losing. We ain't losing no guy.
That's it. Listen, I'm gonna tell it right now. For those of you in the chat that might be in that, we're not hype right now, go ahead and leave. Because this episode, we hype, all right? You have to be with the way we're playing right now. I'm sorry, you just have to. Listen, like you said, that extra pass, when we're sitting here saying, pass the ball to iHeart, then shit must be going really good, okay? Because I'm like, he's open.
Facts.
Oh,
I'm telling them to pass to iHeart? Like, that is night and day from where we were a month ago, okay? So, yeah, it's crazy. I think the run has been great. And that's my thing, is trying to figure out, like, where does that hiccup happen? And I'm okay with Breeze's answer of never. We're going to just win, and then we'll go crazy and go on Phil's side. We're going all the way to beat the West. Whatever you want. Let's just go. You know what? Go crazy.
You better stop before John Moran pop up in your living room like the goddamn Kool-Aid man himself. You better stop.
John Moran showed up at Breeze's car door. That was John Moran.
Nah, but when you look at the schedule for the rest of this month, for the rest of March, we got 15 games left. We play against the Heat tonight, then the Celtics, the Hornets, the Kings, the Clippers, the Lakers, Trailblazers, the Nuggets, the Wolves, the Heat again, the Magic, the Rockets, the Heat, and the Cavs. The only team that I can say is like it's going to push us to our limit is going to be the Celtics again and the Denver Nuggets. Besides that, the Heat are chasing us. The Hornets, they're probably about to start tanking. Sacramento, I love what Sacramento's doing out there in the West. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not scared of the Clippers. They got Russell Westbrook. I understand that, but you saw it last night. They just pulled away from him from the three-point line and just flooded the paint down low, telling him, shoot, we're laughing at you. Go ahead and shoot a 3. Force him to shoot a 3, and he shot an air ball. So I'm not really scared with the schedule. Then we finish the season. Our last 4 games in the month of April is against the Wizards, the Pacers, the Pelicans, and the Pacers again.
Yeah. I'm not honestly, like, for me, the 2 games that I'm looking at most is I want us to deliver the same experience to the Celtics this next time we play them, especially if Jaylen Brown is there. I want to give no Boston Celtic fan an excuse to why we beat them. Like, I want people to be able to not go, oh, the Boston Celtics are still too much for the New York Knicks. No, I want us to go out, defeat them in the same way that we did, so that people can say, holy crap, the Knicks are the ones you don't want to play in the playoffs. That's the team you don't want to get in the playoffs. And then second, I want us to go up against the Nuggets, and I want us to deliver. Because if you look at the Nuggets, they're not really getting touched out there in the West, you know? So for us to kind of go there and be like, hey, we know that you have the possible MVP. We know that your team is known to deliver. The last time we played them, we were a different team. We weren't jumping out on the perimeter and stopping people the way that we are now. So I want to see us lock down their perimeter. I want to see that they're not able to do the things that they've been known for with the Jokic ditch out to the 3-point line and Porter Jr. always getting those threes. I think he's number one in like catch and shoot opportunities in the NBA. So if we're going to test the new look of the New York Knicks offense and defense, that's a perfect team for us to deliver a 1-2 punch to and be able to say, we are the team to beat. Like, I want us to make that statement and beat those two teams and kind of just shut down the possibilities of this could be a fluke. No, I don't think it's a fluke. I don't think this is a, we're about to run out of gas kind of situation. I think our foot is on the gas and we're finally at full tank and we're able to actually execute now. And it's not just a up and down. Like we had a, 8-game run earlier in the season. And then the up and down kind of started. We're not the same team that had that 8-game win streak. Everyone discredited us because so-and-so wasn't there. So-and-so wasn't there.
The conditional wins. Oh, that little series there pissed me off. The constant, it's conditional. I'm like, it's a win.
There's no conditional now. Unless you are full on injured, your team is playing, unless you're Kawhi Leonard and you're still banking on load management. Like everyone else is trying to that's trying to contend is putting all of their efforts into this part of the season. So I don't want to hear when we go on a 10-game win streak that it's conditional, because nothing's been conditional about it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try to drink the Breeze juice today. When I get off, I'm going to have lunch with the Breeze juice and try to get me to that undefeated.
I love real quick, everybody in the chat, man, y'all been tearing it up in there today. Appreciate y'all. I saw Blood of Panda put, checking my New York Knicks Brew Crew bingo card. Haven't seen a clown from Jigga, nor heard a unicorn left fresh from Phil. The power of the Knicks wins, boy. Content exchange.
Facts.
Listen, I look at it this way. The last 3 games, I realized I poured my drinks and I enjoyed them. Like I was sipping and enjoying Knicks games. Beginning of the season, I was drinking to get through the game. Like it's night and day. Like the bottles are lasting longer, people. Okay. Come on, bourbon man. You know what I'm talking about, Phil.
You a fool.
That's
you a fool. And, all right, here. To Blood of the Panthers thing. All right. I will stop unicorn talk if iHeart this summer works on his 3-point shot. Because if he gets that back, then we don't need a Porzingis. All right, we will have a Porzingis if iHeart can actually get a 3-point shot down. So we'll see.
One thing I want to say is over the past 15 games, when it comes to efficiency, the New York Knicks are third when it comes to net rating, second when it comes to offense, and fourth when it comes to defense over the past 15 games. That right there. Hold that, let that sink in. There was a stat also brought up that we talked about it on the last show. When our team hold the opposing team to under 110 points per game, we have a 25-1 record. We are 25-1 when we hold the opposing team to less than 110 points. The only reason the Nets scored over 110 points in the last game is because we was beating them by 30 and the intensity slowed down towards the end of the game. That's really the only reason, right? So when this team locks in on defense, it's special, man. It's special to see, and something special can happen. The one thing that they say in the postseason, defense wins championship, and this team, This team wins game when they're locked in defensively. We're not being outscored anymore by 20 points. We're not giving up the lead anymore in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. We look like we're a solid team. It looks like Tom Thibodeau is actually preparing this team before the games. It looks like they're going into the film room and actually doing work in the film room. So this is credit goes to the whole organization as a whole.
Yo,
from
including
the front
seeing
office
some footage
to the coaching staff and to the players as well.
On that too, man. You and I were talking about it, Heck. Like, I'm happy to finally start seeing some footage again that RJ is back practicing and putting in some extra work, right? So whether it was because they called him out, get back in the gym, whatever, the fact that he's actually doing it is a good sign for us. We need him to find his shot. We need him to get back into that rhythm to really continue this run, at least in my opinion, right? Because we still need him as that piece. Right, we've talked about it since day one of this episode. I've never been a person that thought RJ Barrett was our guy, like he's the guy, he's the stuff. No, but I always thought RJ Barrett could be a major piece for our team. And when he finds that consistency, watch out, because look how we're playing right now without him being consistent.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest piece for me. If he can find some of that, because we begged for perimeter defense, we're seeing it. We asked for us to pass the ball more, we're seeing it. We asked for Julius to be a team player and lead these young guys. We are definitely seeing it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we were begging for Mitch to come back, and we talked about the other day. After injury, Mitch is better than pre-injury Mitch. Like, Mitch is just
4 straight double-doubles since coming back off of his injury. 4 straight double-doubles with at least 2 blocks in every game. Go ahead, Breeze.
That's the thing that people, it can go unnoticed. So, like, if a team is going on a run, right, you're not watching the game. Right. So when Mitchell Robinson is out, I'm like, okay, we're winning with rotations of Jericho Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein, both of which they've been creating extra possessions, but finishing plays, they weren't the greatest. Isaiah Hartenstein through the stretch run we've been playing better was probably still averaging about like 6, maybe 4 to 6 points. And Jericho Sims,
he had more missed rebounds, putbacks than he did points. We played the circus every time, Breeze.
Exactly. So when I'm watching Mitch, I'm like, okay, so for one, Mitch gives you the same offensive rebounds they do. The defense is different, but he's starting to make a more concerted effort rebounding. If I'm like right now, I'm on a prize picks run. I've been hitting the 6 picks, right?
Yes.
Hey.
I've been hitting the under. I've been hitting the under on the rebounds for Randall and over for the rebounds for Mitch, because he just grabbing everything now. Taking all of the rebounds. And the thing that we were missing, I'm like, when he gets back, when he gets the ball in the paint, it's for sure dunks. Like we're not doing no floaties. We're not kicking it out for no more reason. So if you taking his possessions, or Isaiah Hartenstein and Sims offensive rebounds and kickouts, and now you got Mitch with those same possessions giving you 2 points, it still changes the dynamic, because he's been watching, so he's been looking at what the team's been missing this whole time.
Yeah, and you see the difference too when Mitch goes up for the rebound. Phil, I think you pointed this out on Wednesday's episode, where we're not seeing the 2-3 guys all going for that rebound. Like, people moving out the way, they're like, go ahead, do your thing. Go ahead, Mitch. You got this, right? And that, I love a lot of that, because the beginning of the season was everybody trying to fight for the ball. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of that is leading by example and trusting that your team can do it. Like, one thing that I love about Josh Hart is that he's a great rebounder, but he can see when someone else is going up for it. He's not just looking solely at the ball. He's looking at the whole scenario. Nice. So you'll see many times that he goes like this. As soon as he goes up and sees that someone else is, he'll go up and then he'll pull his hands back and he'll make sure that the other player, Randall, Mitch, whoever, gets the rebound. And that's the one thing I'm loving about our team right now, is that they're calling each other to more. Because like you were saying, in Mitch's absence, you saw a lot of like heart from Hartenstein, but it wasn't like a lot of good putbacks. It wasn't a lot of good scoring efficiency. But even with Mitch coming back, what did we see? Back-to-back opportunities for Hart in the last game, where it was give and goes back to Hart, and Hart would do the little fade up, like kind of not hook shot, but kind of just like toss up from the middle. And he's actually starting to score now as well. And so each player on our team is calling the other members of our team to be better. Like Mitch coming in and saying, I'm the best center in New York. You have Hartenstein going, cool, I want to be the second best center in New York. You know, like they are calling each other to more. And that's the beautiful thing to watch, is that each player is pushing each other. And that's going to be what makes our team different in the end, is we're not competing with each other, which is what you see in a lot of teams, a lot of egos. And we used to say that about Randall. We used to say that Randall could not play well if he was not the star. Now you see Julius Randle as a new guy, where he is getting 16 points, yet he is contributing incredibly on the rebound end, the assist end, the directing, the encouragement. Like, he has become a different player with the additions that we've gotten. So I'm thankful for it, because he's not competing anymore, and our team is actually functioning like a team and not a home of a superstar.
Yeah, 100%. You know, fellas, you know, it's getting close to that time. It's 12:30 right now. I know Breeze probably got his life to live and stuff like that, but Breeze, appreciate you taking time out for joining us this morning. It was an awesome conversation. You know, glad to finally have you on the panel. Would love to have you on going down the line whenever you're free. As well, shout out to the guys at KCDA. Before you dip out, let the people in the chat know where they can find you, where they can find KCDA, because you guys are known for the chat of the day after, but it looks like you got to go to start doing that post game thing, and I'm here for it.
We're gonna do the KCNA tonight. I feel it.
Yeah. But go ahead, Breeze. Let them know where they can find you and where they can find the rest of your team as well, brother.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Breeze Season on Twitter. You can find me at Knicks Chat the Day After with Ced and Julito. We usually run it off Julito's page at I Am Julito, and then we also have a Knicks Chat of the Day After page on Twitter. We usually do 12 noon the day after the games. I'm not gonna lie, that was a special edition post game, okay? Because we had to get some energy for the city after that Nets. We smoked them boys, so that was a special edition. But you know, them boys, Ced and Julito, them boys scheduled crazier. And mind you know, I'm technically working right now. You feel me? It's a little long lunch break for the boy. You feel me? So, you know, we normally do the day after, but y'all can find us on Twitter. I'm usually Spaces A Smith on there. I'm usually in there a couple spaces.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Breeze. Thanks so much, man.
Yes, sir.
We said what up. And Lito, I almost jumped up on the post game, but I was stuck on a phone call, and I was about to just jump up and play that wait and see. I was like, you know what? This sounds like a Lito track moment. I'm about to hit that.
Yeah, we full jump out the window season right now, man. Vibes and energy over there, man.
Appreciate you, Breeze,
bro.
Thank you, Breeze.
Appreciate you, my guy. God bless. Be safe, my guy. That was a great convo. Shout out to Breeze. Shout out to the guys, KCDA. Shout out to Chat as well. Delano Still Jr. in the building. Ray. Oh, the man himself, Jay Boogie's in the building.
Oh, hold on.
Salute to Jay Boogie.
I tried
Go
calling
ahead.
you back yesterday. I texted you. I called you back. Hit me up after the show. All right, peace. Guys, we're going to hold the open panel. I just dropped the link in the chat. If you're interested in coming up, we got a couple of topics we want to touch on. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And that's because I got to plug it. I got to let y'all know we are down to literally less than 15 tickets for April 1st, Yankee Stadium. Hector and myself with NYY News TV, Knights of Degen, KOD Media. We're doing a live suite at Yankee Stadium April 1st, April 2nd at Gramercy. If you want your tickets, hit us up. Hit the link. Get ready for the open panel and check it out.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground. Then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my hand ready. Used to hold myself back. My self-esteem damn patty. Gotta keep on chugging. Ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven. Got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead. So bump that. It's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up. I'm trying to get an NFT to get them when they're hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to.
Yes, sir. That thing is about to be bananas. Grab your tickets. Hit me up. DM me on Twitter, whatever, if you're interested in going. We got a couple tickets left. And I will say this. And I looked at the schedule, guys. You do realize that Sunday night there's a Knicks game, right?
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna have to
talk
talk
about
about that. We're gonna
We'll
talk
talk
about that.
about
So
that.
listen, we got a couple people backstage for the open panel. All right. Before we bring them up, I'm gonna play this take right here. I want to give a shout out. All right. Because
Yeah, I was
Tony
gonna say
Banks,
shout out to SK in the backstage right now. Shout out
I
to
didn't
my
want to bring
guy
him up,
SK.
bro.
Shout out to my guy SK
The
for
whole
that. I
time.
see him. But go ahead, go
He's
play that
back
Tony
there.
Banks, bro. Yeah.
Shout out to Tony. Tony started putting out what he's calling his fakes, right? The worst takes. And we reached out because he did one on the Charles Barkley, and I wanted to be able to share it with everybody. And this is the first topic we'll talk about with the open panel. Let's pull this up real quick. Check it out.
A phone, you stupid. Bro, what are you talking about, man? I want the truth.
We didn't even know Jalen Brunson could do that till Luka got hurt. Nobody thought. First of all,
we know.
And I just want to say this. Well, no, look, Kyrie's a great offensive player,
right.
And I want to say this. And I told you this a few months ago. Jalen Brunson is arguably the best. Not talking about KD, LeBron free agents. Jalen Brunson is probably one of the best free agent pickup in NBA history. What he's doing.
History. Oh, you
a guy who
history.
Nobody thought.
I mean, this year for sure.
No.
History?
We're living
Not
this
history.
Year. No, I'm just telling you what he's done this year is historical. Forget that point, big point.
Okay,
but I'm just saying, we didn't know Jalen Brunson was this good of a player. Nobody thought that. Everybody thought going into the season he got overpaid. And when did he shine? When Luka got hurt. That's when he shined in the playoff. Going into last season, during the regular season, nobody said Jalen Brunson going to be a big-time free agent. But when Luka got hurt, he showed what he can do.
A phone, you stupid. Bro, what are you?
He ain't lying with that one. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up the open panels. I got to bring up my first guy, SK, from the back. SK, what it do? Salute, brother.
And salute to you, Heck, Phil, Porto. You already know, man.
The staple of the Morning Brew Sports and the staple of the watch along in the open panel. SK, what it do, brother? Hope all is well. I'm gonna bring up one more person. My guy Sunil, aka Kyrie sinks the Mavs. We all know Sunil's a diehard Mavericks fan, and we also know he's a diehard Kyrie Irving fan. Sunil, good morning. How you doing?
The second take is wrong. Entirely wrong.
But Sunil, I'm glad to see you on the panel, my bro. Hope all is well.
Yeah.
Hope all is well with the family. Guys, we just keep this short. We're gonna just toss it around just for a little bit. You guys saw the video with Charles Barkley giving the Knicks credit. SK, I'm gonna start with you. When it comes to the mainstream media, hearing Charles Barkley switch his take about the New York Knicks, SK, what's your thoughts on that? Is SK frozen? Oh, I think he is. So I'm gonna just keep him right here. When SK comes back, I'll bring him up. Sunil, same question going your way. When it comes to the mainstream media, when it comes to the mainstream, what's your take on Charles Barkley actually giving credit to the Knicks and to Jalen Brunson? What's your take on that?
I'm gonna, give him some props for that because, from a Mavs fan perspective, he basically got the contract he was looking for. He didn't get it with Cuban. You saw my takes in the chat on that one, how I thought, Cuban should probably himself be a contestant on Shark Tank proposing a sale of the Mavs and probably have a Laurie Griner and Kevin O'Leary ownership group take over, because personally I think they'd do a better job. I mean, they basically pooped on not signing Brunson, and they're paying for it by having to trade for Kyrie, and they're seeing that experiment basically fail left, right, and center. The record is 4-5 in the 9 games before and after the All-Star break included. You saw what happened with Philly, but Philly's a fraud team. Okay, they're not really a contender; they're a pretender. They're not going all the way. They're not going to join the Philadelphia circus, as I like to call it. You saw Phillies lose to the Astros. You saw MLS. You saw Philly Union lose to LAFC. And then, of course, in the Super Bowl, the trifecta was wrapped up when Andy Reid beat his old team.
I think that right there was an icing on the cake for Andy Reid, because Andy Reid leaving Philadelphia, he was the one to blame for everything, and he took all the blame for that. Why that team never was successful in Philadelphia. But shout out to Andy Reid. Sunil, appreciate you. Thank you for giving that take. I'm gonna just throw it over to SK. Sunil, my brother, appreciate you, my guy. SK, wrap it up for us. Give us your take. Sunil, love you, bro. I see you Tuesday for the Knicks Morning Brew, because it will be an open panel for that one too as well. All right, Sunil.
Yep.
All right, my guy. SK, same question going your way. When it comes to the Charles Barkley, right, giving credit to the New York Knicks, what's your take on it? How do you feel that finally the lamestream media, who you, SK, have been calling out on your show for a while, finally is talking good about our team? What's your take on that, brother?
It's well overdue, even though they do it in backhanded compliment kind of ways, right? They got to dish you before they give you a compliment.
Yeah.
They can't just give you a compliment and just stand on it. That's why I respect people like Kendrick Perkins for not just this season. Even when had to run 2 years ago, he was on our side and trying to talk to several people like Stephen A. and others was down on us, right? But as far as Charles Barkley, what he said, I think he's just stating the obvious like he always do, right? Like was it the best free agent signing ever? No, that was a little bit hyperbolous, but we know what he was trying to get across. Like, pay attention to this team. This team is making right decisions. Your preconceived notions about what they got going on ain't the truth. So that's what he was getting at when he said it was the best free agent signing in NBA history. You know, because nobody projected Jalen Brunson besides the Knicks to be what he's doing right now. So that's why he put so much praise on it, so to speak.
Yeah. No, and I get it. I'll throw it over to Phil right after. I just want to say, it was a great point that Kenny brought out as well when he said that when you look at this Jalen Brunson's contract in the next 4 to 5 seasons, it's going to come off as a discount, because with the cap going up, which means contracts are going to go up, people's salaries are going to go up. So Jalen Brunson, the money that he's making right now in 4 to 5 seasons is going to look like it's a discount. Phil, throw it over to you to close us out. SK, appreciate you, my guy. Love you, my guy. If you guys please follow my brother SK. Make sure you guys follow the Smoking Nick. SK, are you going on to are you going live tonight after the game, or are you going later on at 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning? What time?
I think he's frozen again.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not going to go on at 12 Eastern time. I'm gonna try to go on probably like right after the game, probably like if not 10 o'clock Eastern time. So that's gonna be like 7:30 my time, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, copy. So guys, make sure you guys tune into the Smoking Nick later on tonight, 10 p.m. SK, my guy. Even though you're wearing a Mets jersey, I still love you, brother.
Yeah,
SK,
man. So
Luke, my guy, appreciate you, my guy.
Luke,
Peace.
SK.
Have a good one, bro.
All right,
too,
later,
brother.
Brody. Later, Brody. That's my guy, SK. Always appreciate SK giving his insight. And as well, thank you to Sunil. Philly Ray Cyrus, any last words? Close us out before we do a roll call and we dip out?
Yeah, so I real quick want to make one point on the Charles Barkley thing. I will give him credit. He has been saying for a bit this season that Brunson has been snubbed. He believed Brunson and Randall should have been all-stars before Randall was even named as a backup all-star. So he has been kind of acknowledging it a little bit before. I think the only difference between him and like Perk and stuff like that is if you look at the guys that are announcing it, in their era of basketball where they played, the Knicks were always a thorn in their side. Always. Like, when Barkley played, he always was underneath the Michael Jordans, the Patrick Ewings, and stuff like that in his career. Like, he always had to deal with that. So even as me, I'm not an actual player, but as a Knick lover and content creator, if I ever got a job where I had to talk well about the Celtics, I think I would find backhanded compliments to give. I don't think I could ever talk, just lovingly about the Celtics. So I will say that it's probably got to be a little bit hard for guys like him to give props to the team that made his career a living hell alongside the Chicago Bulls. So I will give him credit for at least still having something good to say, because it is one of the best free agent signings we have seen in a long, long time. And so shout out to Jalen Brunson for being that diamond in the rough that a lot of teams did not see to kind of revolutionize what we're seeing for the New York Knicks this season. So we're excited. you know, it says some people's trash is another man's treasure. Well, Mark Cuban, your trash is our treasure. So thank you so much for being one of the best people in the New York Knicks front office, Mark Cuban. We appreciate you. And so we look forward to our game tonight. We're hoping for that victory. And then until next time, we will see you guys on Monday. Thank you all for your constant support. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, like this video, tell others to like the video and subscribe. And until next time, deuces.
And like always, sub to the new channel, the Morning Brew Sports. KOD Media is our home. They're the people that gave us the power to have this platform. Shout out to KOD Media. And like Phil said, like always, it's a deuces. Enjoy your Friday. We out of here. It's Friday. Time to get drunk. Have fun. Let's go. Let's go Knicks.